So now it's time to do some tonal shading for activity 2.2's number 2, a 2-point perspective. Remember that the front face I'm going to do as I did here, where it is the shading that's in between the lightest and the darkest. My top will be the lightest, so I'll leave my top faces here and here blank. My front face here and here will have one layer, and my right side face here and here, they will both have 3 layers. I'm going to choose to do width direction tonal shade for the 1 layer. And then for the 3 layer, the the right sides will have height, width, and depth. And I'm choosing width because this object is actually a wider object than it is taller. But either would be fine, either height or width for the front face. And you'll find that when I do this, I'm constantly pivoting around my pencil. You could go even closer if you want to, and it gets it real tight like. It's really good to make sure that you have a nice sharp pencil. The closer you are, the darker it's going to appear, the less like another edge it will appear. Some students I've seen are going extremely close with these. That's perfectly fine. You also find that I'm going to carry it over into that right side face, because it will also have this layer. So I'll keep doing this, being sure that when I get to the top, I skip over it, but making sure that when I get to this face here, I add it back in. And you'll see that I'm carrying these over not just onto the right side face out here, but also all the way out to these. If I bring them all the way out to here, to these lines, you'll notice that I've come over the delineated line slightly, and that's okay. You can always go back and erase that. I prefer to do it that way so that I'm sure to get all the way to the edge. I don't have a problem with erasing. And you'll get to the top face again, and you'll find that you don't have much else to tonal shade except for this last little right side face. I'm going to go back and just show you how tight these get as I'm bringing them to the vanishing point. So as I finish off this right side face, I'll then move on to doing my depth tonal shading as well as my height for my right side faces. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to turn them and continue to do the same thing going along my depth lines. This time I'm going to make sure I only hit the right side faces. And then I'm also going to start at the far end of my protractor now instead of at the vanishing point. And that is so that I don't carry my line over into the front face, because I can't erase there. So I'm going to be very purposeful to try and not cross into that face. to this face as well. And then once I'm done with that one, I'll do my height lines. Alright, so here we finished the depth and the width lines. It's starting to come together. And now I'm going to do the height lines. Height's a little trickier. I'm going to start here and go down, but I could also start here and come up. I just don't want to have to erase anything inside of here if I don't have to. So I'm going to go down with these lines, trying to space them out about the same. Not really a big issue if I go over. More so I want to try and stay parallel and consistent in spacing. Now you'll notice I'm trying to make these like I've seen with some of the students who are really excelling at the tonal shade lines and trying to make them very, very tight to show you how that does look, comparing that to how the isometrics looked that I did in the videos earlier. And I'll add one more right over here. Alright, I'll do the right side face over here. I'll clean up any tonal shading that I need to. And then, of course, all the tonal shading that is around the object. In the end, this is what it will look like. It's fairly well done. It's a lot of lines, and it does represent the shade very well, very appropriately. I do prefer how I did it on the 1 point. It looks more artistic in my opinion, which perspective does tend to be more of the artistic nature of the how the eye sees the world. These are still pictorials, not quite concept sketches, but this is the more technical way. This is the more artistic way. So 2 point perspective for activity 2.2, number 2, complete.